There is a weight you carry that is not yours. You received it without asking. You carry it without knowing. And it has been shaping your life without anyone telling you that you could return it. Tonight, you return it. Tonight, you heal the roots. Are you ready to be free? Welcome. Hello, I'm Jordi, founder of Conscious Mind. If you want to support this channel so that it continues to grow and reach more people, subscribe, like this video, and activate the bell so you do not miss any meditation. Every gesture counts and helps me a lot. Thank you from the heart. Close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable with your back supported, your feet slightly apart, your arms at your sides without crossing anything. And before we begin, I want you to do something you may never have done in this way. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. And from there, feel the body, not the mind, not the thoughts, the body. This body you inherited. This body that carries in its cells, in its DNA, in its patterns of tension and response, the complete history of all those who came before you. Your mother, your father, the parents of your parents, those you never knew, those who lived through wars, hunger, losses, shame, impossible loves, secrets that were never spoken aloud. All of that is in you, not as conscious memory, as pattern, as a way of relating, as how quickly you become alert, as the difficulty of receiving, as the fear of taking up space, as the tendency to carry everything alone, as that background sadness that has no name of its own, but has always been there. You did not put that there. You received it. And tonight, with love and with clarity, you are going to return it. Science knows it now. Epigeneticists have shown that traumas are transmitted from generation to generation through markers in DNA. Not in the genes themselves, but in how those genes are expressed. An unresolved trauma in grandparents literally changes the way grandchildren respond to stress, fear, and loss. We are not only ourselves, we are the sum of everything that came before. And we can also be the point where that chain breaks. Bring your attention to your feet, to the contact with the surface. And from there, imagine that you have roots not metaphorically. Feel that from the soles of your feet, roots descend into the earth. Thick, deep roots that pass through the ground, going down and down until they reach a dark, fertile earth that exists beneath everything. That earth is not only physical earth, it is the field of your lineage, the place where all those who came before you also took root, where their stories continue to vibrate even though they are no longer here. From that earth, your roots are nourished by the strength of those who survived, by the wisdom they accumulated, by the life they transmitted to you. And also, from that earth, things rise that you did not ask for, fears that are not yours, pains that were never yours, patterns that no one consciously chose, but that were passed from hand to hand, from generation to generation, because no one had the opportunity to heal them until now. We are going to open the channel for this work with the breath. It is called ancestral breathing. It is slow, nasal, continuous, like the breathing of an ancient tree that inhales light and exhales oxygen in cycles that are never in a hurry. Inhale through the nose, very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Feeling the air rising from the earth, through the roots, through the legs, through the torso, until it completely fills the chest. Exhale through the nose, without hurry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Feeling the breath descending back down through the torso, through the legs, through the roots, toward the earth, carrying with it something you no longer need to carry. Another cycle. Inhale from the earth, the strength of everything that endured before you arrived rises. The courage of those who survived, the life that allowed you to exist. Exhale toward the earth. Return what is not yours, without judgment, without drama. Simply return. Three more cycles at your own rhythm. Inhale 7, exhale 7. Slow and complete, like the oldest breath in the world. Good. While the breath now continues on its own, soft and steady, we are going to do something important. We are going to find in the body the place where the pattern you inherited lives. Because emotional patterns are not only mental, they are somatic. The body stores them. It encodes them as chronic tension, constriction, an area that is always a little more tense than the rest, without you knowing why. Bring your attention to the throat. Is there something there? A tension? As if there were something that was not said for a long time. Many families have silent mandates. Do not speak, do not cry, do not complain, do not ask. If that pattern lives in you, the throat knows it. Lower your attention to the chest, to the heart. Is there a weight there? An area that feels denser than the rest? As if the heart had learned not to open too much, so it would not suffer again. Many family lines transmit the fear of love, not because they did not love, but because love always came accompanied by loss, abandonment, betrayal. And the chest learned to armor itself before it was forced to open. Lower down to the abdomen, to the belly. This is the place where we keep what we could not process, the center of identity, of the right to exist, of the permission to take up space in the world. Many inherited patterns live here. The guilt of being, the fear of wanting too much, the feeling that one must earn the right to be here. Do you feel it there? Lower down to the hips, to the base of the body. Here lives the connection with the earth, with safety, with a sense of belonging. If your lineage had to flee, if it had to survive, if it had no safe land, it is possible that this place in your body also feels it. A background restlessness, a difficulty staying still, a constant impulse to move, even when there is no real danger. Notice the place where you feel something most strongly. It may be only one place. It may be several. You do not have to solve it now. Just notice. Just name it silently for yourself. Here it is. It has lived here all this time. What you feel there is not a flaw in you. It is the imprint of a story that began long before you were born. And now that you have found it, you can begin to return yourself to yourself. With each cycle of that breath, the field between you and your lineage activates a little more, like turning on the light in a room that has been dark for a long time. Nothing changes in the room, but suddenly you can see everything that was always there. We are going to enter that field now. Imagine that in front of you there is a space, spacious, silent, illuminated with a soft light that has no identifiable source. It simply is. Like dawn, before the sun appears, when the sky fills with a clarity that comes from nowhere and from everywhere at the same time. In that space, there are people standing. They are at a certain distance, not threatening, not judging you, simply present. They are your lineage, the people who came before you, the ones you recognize and the ones you never knew, the ones you loved and the ones who created fear or pain or confusion in you. They are all there. Not as ghosts, not as disturbing visions, as what they truly are. People who lived their lives with the tools they had, who did what they could with what they knew, who carried their own burdens, and who, like all humans, left things unresolved that passed to the next link. Observe how they are standing. Upright or hunched over, looking at you or looking at the ground, alone or close to one another. There is something in the posture of each person in the family field that speaks of what they carried. The one who lived in shame has fallen shoulders. The one who lived in fear has eyes lowered. The one who could never be seen has a blank space around them, as if they had learned to make themselves small so as not to bother anyone. Look at them from where you are, with the eyes of the heart, not of the mind that judges. What do you see when you look at them without the filter of resentment or idealization? Do you see the exhaustion, the confusion, the clumsily expressed love, the fear disguised as hardness, the shame that never had space to be named? And if among them there is someone who hurt you, look at them too, not to excuse them, to see them fully, to see that behind what they did to you, there is a story they did not choose either. That the one who wounds is always someone who was wounded before. That cruelty is rarely pure cruelty, but pain with no channel of release. does not change what happened, but it changes how you carry it. Because if what they did to you was simply evil, you would have to carry it as a meaningless injustice. But if it was pain that did not know how to express itself, then you can release it differently. You can see it for what it was, a flame that burned because it did not know how to do anything else. And flames do not burn out of malice. They burn because it is their nature. They did not know they were passing on to you something that should not belong to you. No one consciously chooses to transmit trauma. They transmit it because it is the only thing they know. Because the emotional world they inherited was also full of the same shadows that reached you. They are in the chain, just like you. But tonight, the chain ends here. There is something I want you to feel before continuing. Something that those who work with family constellations call the great love of the system. Beneath everything, beneath the pain, the distance, the words that wounded, or the silences that also wounded, there is a love that runs like an underground river through the entire family line. A love that often did not know how to express itself, that became distorted, that took forms that hurt, but that, at its origin, was love. That is what you see when you look at them now. Love that did not know how to arrive. And that changes everything. From that place of understanding, not forced forgiveness, but real understanding, I want you to do something. Identify one pattern. One, you do not have to resolve the whole family history tonight. Just one. The first one that comes to you. It may be the tendency to run away when something becomes difficult. The fear of not being enough, no matter what you achieve. The difficulty trusting. That radar always on, waiting for betrayal. The guilt of existing, of taking up space, of wanting things for yourself. The weight of being the strong one for everyone, while no one asks how you are. The background loneliness, even when you are surrounded by people. The self-sabotage, just when something good is arriving. The feeling that happiness always comes with a but. Which one is yours? Do not analyze it, just name it. Silently, only for yourself. And now return to that place in the body where you felt it before. The throat, the chest, the abdomen, the hips, Do you feel how the pattern and the physical place are connected? The pattern is not just an idea. It is a contraction. It is a shape the body learned to adopt in order to survive in the family system that received it. A child who grows up in a family where showing emotion was dangerous learns to contract the chest, to breathe shallowly, to not feel too much so as not to be vulnerable. A child who grows up where danger could arrive at any moment learns to keep the abdomen permanently tense, to always be ready for threat, even when the threat no longer exists. A child who grows up feeling invisible learns to shrink the shoulders, to take up as little space as possible, to not ask so as not to bother. That child is still you somewhere, and that pattern continues to operate even though your conscious life may now be completely different from that childhood. That pattern has a story that is longer than your own life. It comes from before. Now, from that space where the people of your lineage are standing, look and ask yourself, who among them carried it before me? You do not have to know for certain. The field knows, even if you do not remember. Let an image come, a face, a presence that, in some way, is associated with that pattern you also carry. It may be someone you knew. It may be someone you only heard about. It may simply be a nameless presence that the body recognizes. When you have it, say these words silently, from the heart, without forcing the emotion, but without resisting it, if it comes. I see it in you. I recognize it because I carry it too. And I now understand that it came to me through your hands, not to harm me, but because it was what you had also received. Pause for a moment with that. Let the body process. If emotions appear, let them. If tears appear, they are welcome. Tears in this work are not weakness. They are the nervous system releasing accumulated compression. They are the body releasing what the mind has held for too long. Now comes the most important part of tonight, the return. With the same love with which you recognize the pattern and its origin, you are going to return it, not in anger, not in reproach, with the serenity of someone who finally understands that they do not have to be the depositary of something that does not belong to them. extend your hands toward that person or toward that field of your lineage. Palms facing upward first, as if you were holding something in them, something heavy, that weight you carry, that pattern, that emotional burden. And now say, from within, I return this to you with love. It is not mine to carry. It is mine to recognize it, to honor it as part of our history, and to release it. What is yours remains with you. What was mine, I integrate. And what belonged to none of us, but to the time and circumstances that belonged to no one, I surrender to the field so it may be transformed. Feel whether something moves in the body when you say that. Perhaps in the chest, perhaps in the abdomen, perhaps in the throat, opening a little more. That is energy moving, the pattern releasing its roots in you. Let the body process. Do not rush this moment. There is nowhere else to go tonight. If you feel heat in your hands, it is real. The hands have one of the highest concentrations of nerve receptors in the body. When we work emotionally with physical gestures, such as extending the palms, the nervous system truly responds. It is not symbolism, it is physiology. If you feel your breathing change, if it becomes deeper, or there is a sigh that needs to come out, let it. A sigh is the parasympathetic nervous system activating. It is literally the body-changing state. If images or memories appear while you do this, let them pass without clinging to them. You do not have to resolve them tonight. You only need to make the gesture of returning. The field takes care of the rest. Breathe the final cycle of surrender. Inhale from the earth. 7 counts. Receiving the strength of everything you do, want to keep from your lineage. Exhale toward the earth. 7 counts. Returning what is no longer yours. With love. Without reproach. Like someone handing back something they found on the road and know does not belong to them. Good. Now comes something that very few meditations of this kind include, and that is equally important. Receiving the gifts. Because the family line does not only transmit wounds, it also transmits gifts, strength, survival, ingenuity, deep love, even if clumsy, roots that anchor, even if they sometimes tighten, a way of being in the world that has more resources than we recognize when we look only at the pain. From that field where your lineage stands, now open your hands with the palms facing upward, but this time to receive. Ask them silently to give you what truly is yours, what they left you that deserves to remain. Resilience, that which allows you to rise when everything says there is no more. You did not learn that alone. You inherited it from people who lived through things you could not even imagine and found a way to continue. That capacity is in your DNA, in the same biology that makes you resilient. The capacity to love, which, although it did not always know how to express itself well, was always present. The love your mother or grandmother expressed by cooking, the love your father or grandfather expressed by working without complaint, the love that never found the words but also never left. That love also comes toward you now. Intuition. Generations of people who had to read the environment in order to survive developed an intelligence of the world that does not come from books, a way of knowing without knowing why. That is also yours. Connection to something greater. Perhaps your lineage had faith. Perhaps it had a way of relating to the earth, to the seasons, to the rhythms of nature. Perhaps it had rituals that kept the community united. That ancestral connection to something greater than the individual self is also part of your inheritance. Feel that reaching you now, like a light that descends through the roots and rises through the trunk, warm, ancient, real, not as a burden, as living inheritance, as the part of them you do want to carry. And say silently, I receive the gifts of my lineage. I receive the strength. I receive the love. I receive the intuition. I receive the faith and the connection. I receive the life they allowed me to have. Thank you. With these two hands, the one that returned and the one that received, with that complete gesture of honoring without carrying, you are doing something that perhaps no one in your family has ever done before in this way. You are being the point of transformation. not because you are better than them, but because you have a tool they did not have, an understanding that time has made possible, and a heart that tonight chose to heal instead of continuing to carry. When you heal a pattern, you do not only heal yourself. Something in the family field changes. Those who come after you will not have to carry that weight because you resolved it. And perhaps in that field where everything is connected, those who came before you also find some peace. That is root healing, not solitary work, but a service to the entire line. Imagine for a moment those who will come after you, your children, if you have them, or if you will have them, the children of your children, people who do not yet exist, but who will carry your blood and your emotional field. They will not know that tonight you spent hours working on something invisible but real. They will not know the name Bert Hellinger or Bruce Lipton. They will not know that one April night you put on your headphones, closed your eyes, and decided that certain things ended here. But they will feel it. They will feel it in the way they will be able to love without the fear you inherited, in the way they will be able to ask without the guilt that was so hard for you to overcome, in the way they will feel in some way they cannot explain, freer than the generations that preceded them. That is the gift you are giving them tonight. Most of the inheritances we leave to those we love have no market price. They are not written in wills. They are in the emotional field, in the patterns we transmit or stop transmitting, in the health or the wound that passes from heart to heart through the years. You are choosing what to transmit. That is perhaps the most powerful decision a human being can make. The roots of your tree are healthier now. And from healthier roots, the tree can grow differently, more freely, more its own, more real. Bring your attention back to the body, to that hand that is still on the chest. Do you feel something different there? Is there a little more space? A little less of that weight you may not have identified as weight because you had carried it for so long that it already seemed normal. What you feel is you, a little more yours than an hour ago. Sleep now arrives to seal this work. The quantum field, the same one that connects all members of a family, even when they are separated by time and death, remains active while you sleep. Tonight's work does not end when consciousness closes. It continues in the deeper layers where the subconscious operates, where the body processes, where the cells that carry the epigenetic memory of generations can finally receive a different signal. A signal that says the pattern has changed. A signal that says this is no longer the truth of this lineage. A signal that says something new begins here. And as sleep arrives, feel the weight of the body on the surface. The legs are heavy and still, like tree trunks that no longer need to move. The feet remain connected to the earth, to the roots, to the ancestral field that tonight has been cleansed a little more. The arms rest at the sides, loose, with nothing to hold or control. The hands, those hands that tonight returned and received, rest open, slightly open, as if they were still in that gesture of giving and receiving. The chest expands with a spaciousness it perhaps did not have at the beginning of this meditation. Do you feel it? There is more space there. 1 more centimeter of expansion with each breath, as if something that had occupied space without permission had withdrawn. And in that space, there is silence. The silence of someone who no longer has to carry what does not belong to them. The abdomen soft, the throat free, the jaw not clenched but allowed to fall. The body weighs in the correct way, not the weight of burden, the weight of rest, the weight of someone who has done their work tonight and can surrender to sleep without pending debts. The words you hear arrive from far away, like the sound of the sea when you are about to fall asleep on the shore. Present but distant, real but soft. The mind no longer needs to process. It has already done its work. Now, it is the body's turn, the quantum field's turn, the subconscious that knows how to continue this work while consciousness rests, thoughts farther and farther away, the body quieter and quieter, the path towards sleep deeper and deeper. The roots are firm, cleaner than when you began, more your own, more yours than ever. And the tree that is you can now grow from that freer soil. Every branch you extend, every flower you open, every fruit you give comes from roots that tonight chose to heal. Tonight you have done something few people do. You have looked back with love. You have taken what was yours. You have returned what was not. You have received the gifts that were always there. And you have planted in that ancestral soil a new seed, the seed of a pattern that ends in you, and of a peace that begins here in this body, on this night, in this sleep that is already arriving. Tonight, you have done something extraordinary. And tomorrow, you will wake up a little freer, without knowing exactly how, without anyone being able to point to it with a finger. But something in you will know. You will feel it in the lightness, in the spaciousness of the chest, in the small new space that will be there, where before there was only weight. Sleep. The roots are healthy. The chain breaks here, and peace begins now, in you. Good night.